half article is better than thousands of Buhari.
Buhari is doing the best in Nigeria.
2019 presidential election.
The elections may be over, but not in its entirety. INEC had just concluded a rerun in 6 states of the Federation, and one state stood out, Kano, because of the issues emanating from the supplementary elections. Well, my guest today will be looking at the issues in that election and moving forward what INEC can do in preventing the dramas we witness in the elections from reoccurring in the nearest future. My guest is an editor with the Authority newspaper here in Abuja, Nigeria, and the person of Mr. Malaki Uzendo. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Let's start with your assessment of the 2019 elections before we go down to the supplementaries.
Well, overall, I think it's a mixture of the good and the bad. Okay. The good, because the people came out to actually express their franchise. And the bad, because the electoral body disappointed me. I'm disappointed in both the planning and the execution. And then most importantly, the military and the police, made things very, very difficult for the electorate to discharge their civic responsibility. So when you look at it, it appears we've not learned the basic lessons from previous elections. Some people might say that the politicians are pursuing their quest to occupy political office at all costs.
Yes.
Yes, but we have the security agencies whose preoccupation and primary responsibility is to stop them. Just this afternoon, I was thinking about it, and one thing came to my mind. The pledge. After the national anthem, we usually think about the pledge, the Nigerian pledge. I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be loyal, to be faithful, loyal and honest. Yes. Faithful, loyal and honest. To serve Nigeria with all.
Do you think they still remember those lines?
So that's the point. Where is the honesty? Where is the loyalty? Is the loyalty to people in government? Is the loyalty to people, to a particular political party? And that is the big question. Now, as it is to an ordinary person, once they see anybody in uniform, be the person a policeman, be the person a military, the first thing that comes to his mind is that that person is a murderer, that person is a kidnapper, that person is fake. Before you begin to think about whether that person actually represents those offices. So there is a very serious question mark on the security apparatus. It is not a question of perhaps the chief of army staff coming up to say those who did this are fake. Or maybe the inspector general of police coming to say those that did so and so thing are fake. It has permeated through the fabrics of the people that people who do those things are actually serving officers and men of the military and the police, that they are not fake. But then if the topmost hierarchy in those agencies are telling you that the people who did it are fake, it has also conjured another notion on the people that any uniformed man is more or less a fake, that the person is an idiot, that the person can commit any crime. Well, and most importantly, that the state will do nothing about it.
But let's narrow it down to what happened in the last couple of days. We've seen plenty of drama. The first election, March 9, to the one we had on the 23rd. How would you compare both of them?
No, that's what I'm saying. On March 9th, Nigerians came out with the hope and the expectation that the security agencies were going to provide security for them. They came out in their large numbers. But the moment that first election held, and they saw the kind of attitude displayed by security agencies, many of them said, well, let me not die. After all, these people are just going there to feather their pockets. So you discover that the number of voter apathy immediately set in. Now, when they committed the heinous atrocities of that state assembly and governorship election, it became worse. And then from what happened in Kano and in some other states, where the state apparatus will provide cover for some hoodlums, who at the end of the day, they will tell us that those guys were fake in their own uniform, and they are not ashamed to say that people that have been masquerading from one state to the other are fake. I mean, there are things you don't tell people.
But how would you break down the differences? I mean, in the first election, We saw what led to the supplementary elections in Kano. We saw a result that one would think, look, just declared the opposition as won. And then a week or two later, we are seeing a different result with barely 8,000 votes.
Now, it goes to tell you the level of independence of the National Electoral Body. They are not independent.
Okay.
They are being maneuvered. Now, if you look at the states where the ruling party has the upper hand, the results are declared almost immediately. But then in the other states where the opposition is having an upper hand, it will take a lot of gerrymandering, a lot of backward and forth movement before the results are declared. It doesn't make them to look as if they are truly independent. It makes them to look as if somebody somewhere is calling the shots.
Are you seeing an abuse of incumbency?
Not just abuse of incumbency, it's abuse of law. Incumbency is a small factor.
Okay.
When you abuse the law, the entire constitution, when you abuse the system, you have killed the entire society. So what we are talking about is a very serious matter that is likely going to affect the next general elections. I foresee a situation whereby two scenarios will play out.
Okay.
Some people will wait for a winner to be declared and then they do head hunting. They remove him from the scene. Or you will see a situation whereby you have outright war, brutal war between opponents or two major opposing political parties, which will be most unfortunate. In any case, who pays for all those things? We were trying to analyze what happened on the day the National Assembly members collected their certificates of return. We didn't see any talk there. They came in there with their wives and their children and their friends. All those people that were carrying guns, including those in uniform, were not invited. They didn't bring them. But it's unfortunate because people are so hungry that with 5 naira you can instigate them to violence. And in any case, those people have been so pauperized, and then their psyche is no longer functioning well. So when you talk about law, they don't understand what you mean by law.
Was INEC too quick in announcing the Kano result, supplementary
Not
result?
that they are too quick, or that they are not too quick. You wouldn't come to that. After all, the returning officer did some kind of, he had to adjourn severally. He went in, there was a period, he said they were coming back for 15 minutes. It took him almost 2 hours. So it is not a matter of the time it took them to announce. For us, there shouldn't even have been any delay in the first instance. Do you know why I say so? The youth corps member who has no basic experience anywhere goes to the rack, collects the electoral materials, moves to the polling centers, discharges his responsibility, announces the results as are done there, enters it there, does a proper collation, no problems. He will get the figures and they will be correct. Then he comes back to a professor who is a collation officer. And the professor, for goodness sake, finds it difficult to collate. What is difficult in coming to say, look, I have figure 1170. No, some of them can't even pronounce figures. I was taught that to pronounce 11 is not 11, it is 11. 252 is not 252, it is 252. So they even pronounce figures in such a way and manner that it confuses people.
But why is it a do or die thing? The APC chairman in Kano State was quoted as saying that the supplementary election will be do or die, and we saw that playing out. Why is it do or die?
We didn't begin to hear do or die from him. It was former President Olusegun Obasanjo that made the election a do or die affair. And when he started it, some of us warned him that he should mind the choice of language that he uses. He should also mind the kind of actions that he instigates his political people, his politicians in his party to engage in. Now Obasanjo is out of PDP. He has wreaked the havoc. Now many politicians are toeing his part. It's a matter of do or die. These were inventions of the former President Olusegun Obasanjo. It's a shame that a president of a country should use that kind of language. Now, some people that you don't even know their background, some people that you don't know where they are coming from, mainly because they are occupying one office or the other, political office, they also see politics as a do or die matter. And there is a reason why it is like that. You know the reason. There is too much money in political offices. I do not understand, for instance, why a member of House of Assembly should earn more than a professor in a university. It's a shame. And so that is why when you bring professors to come and do simple collation, they'll be requesting for extra light. They'll be requesting for ruler. But now these are people who supposedly supervise doctoral work of some people. You try to mess them up, and then you cannot read simple figures.
But just before we go, let's look at the fact that INEC has lots of legal suits before and after the elections. Would you say that will contribute to the performance overall of the elections?
I think with what has happened, INEC itself, if they are sincere to themselves, they know that what they have done is an aberration of an election. So it is expected. And I'm sure they budgeted for it. That was why they had that humongous amount of money in their budget. So they anticipate what they have done. In some other climes, if we are sincere about correcting all these things, what is difficult in bringing in the major political parties as members of that electoral body? Let them see everything that is happening. Let them be in the situation room.
Is that a way forward? I mean, with
that is one way out of it.
Okay.
You don't need to hide anything from the political parties. The political parties have to be neck deep in the collation of the results. If there is any major political party that is not there, that collation shouldn't go on. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
Results are conducted at the polling units. Now you have announced the results there. You take the electoral material to the rack for collation. Now, the party agents are no longer allowed to come in there.
Yeah.
What if they change the results sheets from inside the vehicle before they get to the rack? Which is a possibility.
Well, we'll leave it at that. My guest has been Malachi Uzendo, editor of the Authority newspaper, and we have been looking at the elections so far. Thank you so much, sir, for your time.
It's my pleasure.
Join us again some other time. I'm Itogi Mo, edit.
Half article is better than thousands of Buhari.
Buhari is doing the best in Nigeria.
presidential election.